In the yard in 1987, an unprecedented forest fire on the Big Haigana mountain range in northeast China. A small group of soldiers follow each other. They go to clean up everything after the fire, which caused huge damage to the mountain for more than a month. One of the solids calls the group commander to show something. The soldiers found someone's corpse under the boards. They conclude that it is one of the residents of the nearest village who went to the mountains. The soldier looks closely and notices that this creature does not have a mouth, but a mouth, more like a wild beast with a human body. One of the guys abruptly raises his oar and tells Zhang Zhu, the guy who discovered the creature, to immediately move away and report the find to the company commander. The soldier orders Zhang to run immediately. At the same moment, the beast comes to life and stands up. The outcome is sad. The creature fatally bites the guy in the neck in an instant. The whole group open fire on the beast. The creature screams in pain, but apparently the bullets are not a hindrance to it. It is rapidly moving towards the soldiers. They have lowered the entire clip to try to kill the creature. The company commander tells the soldiers to take advantage of the chance and quickly flee from here. The commander opens fire directly on the creature, and it seems to be already dying. Depressed and tired soldiers are traveling by train. One of the guys, Jai Chao, to cheer up the squad, says that when they return to the capital, they will definitely receive a reward, because if the authorities have allocated a train specifically for their group, then there will definitely be a reward. Lao Jiang answers him. He says that Jai Chao, as soon as he boarded the train, seemed to have lost his soul. How can he think about the reward after such an event? One of the guys is tired the most. He does not understand what Lao means by lost his soul. This hero is only concerned about sleep. He has been on his feet for the third day. Jai Chao tells the commander that there are rumors about ghosts that the commander met on his way. The commander is asked to tell about what happened. The commander denies the presence of any ghosts and says that they shot at the bear. One of the guys causes a commotion. He screams that one of the bags on the train has started to move. The soldiers are preparing weapons. The commander says that if you let this get out of the bag, then no one will remain alive. The commander takes a shovel and hits the bag with all his might. A guy named Zhuji comes too close to the bag. It bursts out of the bag. Zhuji rushes at the speed of light and wounds him in the shoulder with sharp as a blade. The commander is going to attack something, but the normal soldiers are holding him so as not to lose another comrade. Chapter 1. The soldiers stop the commander and try to bring him to his senses, saying that there is no way to save a friend. Soldiers are waiting for orders from the commander. Clava of the company says that the situation is not easy. They will not be able to defeat the monster, and therefore he orders the soldiers to run to the scattering, and our brave hero will try to cover everyone. The monster had already spotted the commander. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a guy with long snow-white hair, dressed in a light suit, deftly jumps onto the train. He effectively appears right in the carriage of our soldiers, who find themselves in a terrible situation. The mysterious guy orders everyone to get out of the way. The guys are stunned how she got into their car and who he is in general. The white-haired hero confidently approaches Montreux and tells him not to pretend, because the monster knows exactly what kind of guy is right in front of him. The creature cowered in a corner out of fear. The soldiers shout that it is very, very dangerous to get close to him, but it seems the stranger knows exactly what he is doing. The stranger scares Mantra more and more by his very appearance. The guy argues that even a large fire could not destroy the creature and asks the monster how many blood he has already managed to absorb. But the creature clings to the corner in fear. The man and the monster have switched places. A sinister aura emanates from the guy, and his eyes were filled with real madness. He took out his sharp blade and said, "It's time for you." The monster decided to attack the hero out of fear, but he did not move from his place, but continued to mock the creature. In an instant, the guy deprived the monster of a forelimb. Vile blood gushed out of the amputated limb of the creature in a strong stream. The monster from without strength was able to rise. The guy looked with disgust at the pathetic stranger got up. "I've learned something else," the hero said coolly. "The monster is trying to escape, to do everything not to die here and now at the hands of this ruthless man." There is a loud sound, and this guy effortlessly just steps on the creature and thereby does not give him a chance to get free. The soldiers are perplexed that the monster really died, although they have already opened fire several times, and then suddenly he died because of the blade sticking out of his chest. One of the guys rushes to shake the mysterious hero's hand and wonders which unit this hero is from. The white-haired guy ignored the soldier and only said that there were things in the world that it was better not to know about, for his own good. The hero pours a liquid resembling blood on the defeated creature, because of which a flame ignited at the same second. The soldiers are excited, they still can't believe that the monster has really disappeared. The knight hero tells the company commander that for the fact that he helped him, the hero will definitely repay the commander in the future, and if by that time the head of the detachment will no longer be there, then the guy will repay his debt to his descendants. How mysteriously the guy appeared, he also mysteriously disappeared, jumping straight from the train. One of the guys named Yuanchao took the blade in his hands to examine it in more detail. His father comes to the house of the unfortunate hero Yuanchao. Everything is not going well with Ms. China's marriage, he was married 2 times, and all these attempts ended in funerals. Desperate Yuanchao tells his father that he has already accepted the eternal life of a bachelor. But this time, the father advises his son to adopt the grandson of the Shen family. Yuanchao obeyed, and now he is the father of a little boy named Shen La. Years have passed, it's already the 90s, the boy Shen La has grown up a lot. And so, as soon as the little adventurer realized that no one was at home, he immediately began to examine the casket. He was very attracted to Shen La by his carelessness. Suddenly, someone called the boy from behind. It turned out to be a familiar Yuanchao, the boy's father. Yuanchao caught Shen La by surprise, and the latter, realizing the situation he was in now, asked his father what he was doing here, hadn't he gone grocery shopping? The father was angry at the little rascal for sitting and watching to steal the casket, although the father had told the boy many times that there was no need to be interested in this. The father runs around the house after his son to punish him properly. Shen La says that this evil man is his third uncle, whom he lives in the same house, and calls him father. Little Shen La is already spending his time by the lake. In nature, Shen La argues that he has a wonderful father, only a little cruel. The boy is standing by the lake and is going to swim a little, and at the same time scare the 2 sycophants as soon as they come to the pond. Shen La holds his breath and jumps into the water. He doesn't understand why it gets so cold in the water. The boy was grabbed by the leg by some inhuman hand and begins to pull him to the bottom. The boy waves his hands in panic and asks for help. Just then 2 friends of the main character come and rather help him get out of the sinister hands of something unprecedented. The boys ask Shen La if everything is alright with the boy. The main character strains the eyes of friends on his leg. The mark of someone's strong grip is clearly visible on the leg, but friends do not pay much attention to this, they intend to bring their swimmer friend home. The boy was brought home and immediately put in a warm bed, but Shen La is still cold, which he complains about to his father, and the father is so angry about his son's behavior that he does not hear what the boy is talking about. Yuanchao drives the kids home and grumbles at the guys that so many children go to the pond without adults. The father tries to leave the room. Shen La sees some kind of monster slug by his bed. The boy is immobilized and scared, and the monster laughs quietly and maliciously. It asks the boy if he sees him. Monster has an evil grin and glowing eyes on his face. Suddenly, the monster takes possession of the boy. The father resorts to Shen La. The boy tries to explain to his father that when he plunged into the lake, something grabbed his leg, and now it has come for him now. The monster slowly takes over the boy's mind, so that he no longer responds to his father. Yuanchao immediately remembers about a certain silver dagger. He runs for a weapon and throws things around in search of a dagger. The father orders the monster to leave his son alone, otherwise the Man6 Na will simply kill the monster with this dagger. The monster begins to leave the boy's body and evaporates into the air. The boy falls with his head on the pillow and loses consciousness for a few seconds. Shen La, or as he is also called Lazi, comes to his senses. The excited father looks around to make sure that there is no danger anymore. The boy says that the monster has already left. From the dialogue between father and son, it is learned that Lazi was able to see various evil spirits from an early age. Monk Xiao said that the boy had heavenly vision. Yuanchao tells his son that tomorrow he will kill the black dog and then wash the boy. This means that the father will wash Lazi's head with blood because the black dog causes a solar eclipse, which will help close the boy's celestial vision. The caring father calms Lazi down and puts him back to bed. But the boy, as it turns out, is still full of strength. He asks his father if that mysterious dagger was always in that casket. Lazi is surprisingly interested in this dagger. He begs his father to show him this weapon. The father promises his son that as soon as he is gray-haired, he will show the boy a dagger. 10 years have passed. Lazi in a military uniform and dark glasses sits thoughtfully on the bus. Shen La is in the clouds when suddenly one of the soldiers he calls Shen La to finally get off the bus. A company of military men stands in front of the commander. He informs them that after a month of training, before dividing the soldiers into groups, they will conduct the first and last firing practice with live ammunition. Shen La thinks about the fact that combat cartridges are not used in the training of recruits. The commander orders Shen La to break down, he obeys, and prepares to undergo training. The main character remembers that the last time he held something like this in his hands was only at the third uncle in the camp of the logistics battalion. The question 4 or 5 arose in the hero's head. This is a reference to the hero's past, when he came to the third uncle and got exactly at the moment when they were shooting. The uncle, to please the boy, allowed him to take his Type 54 pistol and hit the target. At that moment the main character hit 4 or 5. Shen La exhales and lists the order of actions in his mind, namely, to press the butt, the sight, the front sight and the target closer to himself 3 points on the same line. A meeting is heard, one of the recruits hits a deuce. A soldier standing next to the commander noticed that each person is given 2 cartridges, and if you sum it up, there won't be 100 hits. In this case, is there any point in hoping for something and continuing training? The commander says he's seen enough and it's time to finish. But suddenly, the soldier checking the marks on the mesh shouts 10. An accurate hit. It was the main character's shot. Shen La is clearly an excellent shooter. He hit the very center of the 10. The commander is shocked by the accuracy of the soldier. He orders to replace the target and give Shen La 2 more cartridges. The main character is preparing for a new striking shot. He intends to cause the boss the same feeling. Shen La exhales, focuses on the front sight, pulls on himself with his index finger, and clearly imagines the target. 2 shots and both 10. The commander is stunned by the incredible talent of the recruit. He puts his hand on the hero's shoulder. The boss does not hide his shock. He says that he does not understand anything at all because the soldier is not very many years old and he already has exceptional shooting skills. The commander asks Shen La which sports school he is from and whether the first shot was a target. The main character turns to the commander. He informs that he has no training and today he held a rifle in his hands for the first time. The commander says it's just incredible, the first time he shot and immediately hit the top 10. The boss asks the hero if he is a hero of Chinese myths, a striking archer from the Yi tribe, a fighter against monsters, a cultural hero who invented the bow and arrow and taught this art to people. The commander ordered the main character to take off his cap with dark glasses and show himself who he was. Shen La salutes, gives his name and jokingly says that he is not Hu Yi in any way. The examination shooting range of the regimental headquarters, Shen La stands with the rest of the soldiers. He is ordered out of order, informed that a trial shooting will now be conducted at a distance of 100 meters from the target, and the time limit is exactly 3 minutes. There are no restrictions on cartridges. Although the main character looks confident, even he has excitement right before the responsible moment. He tells himself to calm down, to remember yesterday's feeling during the shooting. Shen La takes aim. Fortunately, all the marks on the target are clearly visible. During the shooting, the main character experiences the most pleasant sensations. A sharp sound is heard, the bullet fleetingly and very quickly flies into the target, piercing it exactly in the middle. The others do not lag behind and also open fire on their targets. Time is running out and the commander orders to stop shooting and show his targets. The target inspector reports to higher positions that it is impossible to give an exact answer for one of the targets. The commander wonders what is the matter. Once again, the main character delighted everyone. Hitting the target was very concentrated, so it was impossible to say exactly how many dozen. Again, Shen La hit not only the target, but also experienced soldiers who never saw it again. It was so incredible that people could not believe their eyes. And a smug grin was already drawn on Shen La. This time the hero also broke through the wall, but immediately said that he did not do it on purpose. The new commander directly asked how the hero managed to hit so accurately, expecting Shen La to reveal his secret to him. But our humorous guy says, "Let me report. I used my hands." An amazing answer, worthy. From that day the main character was accepted into the guard company. Diligent strength training of Shen La in a new company, because in 2 months there will be a competition of military skills between the military. The main character should add importance to the commander of his regiment, and for this Shen La is ready to work tirelessly because he was taken as an exception. The day of the military skill contest has come. The company commander of the 6th Regiment, Liu Yuan, is called to the ready. The commander confidently steps to the weapon, lies down on the ground, takes a fighting position and begins to aim, starts shooting. Time is running out and it's time to stop shooting. One of the inspectors reports that Liu Yuan hit 4 10s and 1 6. It's Shen La's turn to get out of line and show his skills. The main character praises Commander Liu, says that he showed really good shooting. Commander tells the recruit that as soon as Shen La has had proper practice for several years, he will achieve the same success. But the commander clearly does not yet suspect who he is competing with now. Shen La, piercing the commander of the 6th Company with a haughty look, thanks him for the instructive advice. Liu Yuan tells the main character to try hard and goes to drink water. While thinking about our boy, Commander Li found him too arrogant. The bright red eyes of the main character literally burn the target, just like a flame. Everything is the same as it was in training. He will always be the best. The main thing is to focus. Accurate aiming and Shen La opens fire. There is no doubt about the talent of the hero, the inspector shouted 5. 5 dozen. Commander Liu never expected this from an arrogant kid. The main character made a very strong impression on those around him, especially on such an experienced shooter as the commander of the 6th Company. The soldiers can't believe the amazing result. Is it possible to defeat Commander Liu? Who is this unknown guy? This is Shen La, a very experienced fighter in their military district. The amazing accuracy has attracted the attention of the commander-in-chief, who is already straining towards the main character. Shen La noticed the military rank of a man who is straining right towards him. It's a major general. The commander-in-chief did not stand on ceremony and immediately moved closer to the point whether Shen La was interested in joining the general's unit. A tall man approached the general, a short man, outraged at why the major general was doing here at all, because he wasn't even from their district, the more that they needed here. The main character does not understand why they suddenly began to swear. Are the generals really arguing over Shen La? It turns out that the one who started arguing with the major general is the commander of the military district Zheng. Comrade Shen La. The major general shouted and ordered the chief Naroi to immediately prepare a report to the chief. Our guy didn't understand what else the report was, unless they had to go somewhere. During the swearing of the Major General and Commander-in-Chief Zheng, a mutually beneficial agreement was concluded, according to which the Major General received Shen La as the most promising sniper for one of the special forces groups, and the commander of the military district Zheng received several new subordinates for a couple of years. Shen La is straining to the commander of his new squad. He comes into the office to give a piece of paper in which all his physical training is described. The general violently knocked on the table and was indignant because everything else, excluding shooting, does not meet the requirements for special forces at all. Another guy from the squad enters the office. The general recognizes him. This is Lao Wang Dongui, the commander of the Saker squad. The general introduces Lao Wang to our main character, deceiving him with a skillful snapper, hitting exceptionally precisely in the top 10. Shen La introduces himself and shakes hands with the commander, but in a moment Lao Wang attacks Shen La. But the hero is not a blunder at all, although he did not expect it, but he still reacted with ease and blocked the commander's attack, and he, in turn, noticed this good quality of the main character. The commander's next attack came from the foot. Shen La's reaction may be good, but it's still too inexperienced. The main hero almost fell, but to his surprise, in flight he landed on his paws, just like a nimble cat. Is that all? The main character teased the commander. A military training ground, there is a thorough training of Shen La with his new commander. Tired Moldit reports that the 20-kilometer cross is finally completed. But the commander is not going to hurt the hero, it was just a warm-up. The commander says to prepare for a new cross with a weight of 25 kilograms. Indeed, a harsh commander, strict and ruthless. It was worth the main character to stop to breathe, so the warden is right there with his rubber baton, which he always drove the hero so that he would not relax, does not let him rest at all. The commander instructs that the main character always follows orders, obligatorily, and does not dare to be lazy. From that moment, Shen La's life in the Saker squadron began. Every day the main character goes through training, a 10-kilometer cross with a load of 25 kilograms on his back. But what is more frightening for Shen La is the fact that Commander Wang and the main character are simply inseparable. Shen La thought about his father, but I wonder when the third uncle was a rookie, he probably also suffered all this. Shen La is still weak, training has exhausted him so much that he lost consciousness right during the cross-country. Starting to come to his senses, the main character recalled the words of people he had already met all this way. He remembered the instructions that he, having joined the squad, should try hard, remembered the enthusiastic cries that he got right into the top 10. The commander still manages to bring Shen La to his senses. The commander was very worried about the main character. He took our boy threw him on his back and hurried back to the squad. The commander says that life in the special forces is hard and drains all the strength. The mentor will wait for the main character on the battlefield as soon as he recovers. It seems that Shen has lost his grip. He tells the commander that he is not capable of anything. The commander wants to direct our hero, talking about how much responsibility falls on the guy for the lives of his comrades, as well as the protection of his native home and country. The key question that the mentor asks the soldier is whether the main character will be able to bear all this heavy load. Motivational words gave strength to the main character. Indeed, the main character has strong character traits. He quickly got off the man's back and ran with the last of his strength, after hearing only how the commander shouted to the guy, "Shen, why do you need all this?" The main character promises himself and the commander that he will definitely be able to do everything. The commander adjusts his hat. The mood of the boy has lifted the mood of the man. He says that for today the main character has had enough, but since he has such a firm spirit, tomorrow the commander will double the distance for him at training. Training on the shooting range, as always ideal, the hero has not shot less than a dozen since then. There is not the slightest doubt about his absolute accuracy. But everything does not end with shooting training. The main character crawls between the ground with barbed wire, exhausting workouts with an unthinkable number of repetitions. From behind, the commander comes to Lassie and slaps the guy on the shoulder. The fact is that the main character was able to pass the test, and the man came to congratulate him. He brought a piece of paper with his completely new physical indicators. Now the hero can begin the tasks of the special forces. The commander informs that it will be all ready this evening, and therefore the hero needs to prepare properly. The new special forces uniform fits perfectly on Shen. Now he is a trained sniper of the Saker squad, and now he has arrived at the place of his first assignment. Somewhere on the border of Yunnan and Myanmar, a special forces detachment went to the forest on a call from the D. The anti-drug department went on a mission. The D reported that Mott, a thin man with a scar on his face, took a large buyer with him and headed to the storage point to make a deal. The task of the special forces is to destroy the warehouse and arrest all drug dealers. Mott is associated with people from Kamulji, the largest drug dealers of the entire Golden Triangle. Shen studies the task. He is interested in how many people and what kind of weapons the enemy has. The guy is told that there are at least 5 people there, and they can have several machine guns with them. The main character is shown a photo of some fat man. According to the D, this person is their agent. In case of a shootout, it will be necessary to ensure his safety. Now the special forces will follow the guide Lin to get acquainted with the terrain, and at night the special forces will arrive at their destination and ambush. 2 hours later, a group of special forces goes to the fork. One of the group informs the others that there is a difficult terrain in this area, and therefore you need to be careful and not leave. Someone's footprints were noticed, which was immediately reported to Commander Wang. The group hears the sound of water. Lao Lin is asked if there is a spring in these mountains. The answer immediately followed that this is not a spring, there is a waterfall in that direction, and this is a very bad place. Shen asks why the place is so bad. The guide replied that the waterfall has a small lake, and the local Xiao call it the abyss that eats people. Liao Lin says that he has been working here as a forester for 20 years. Dead people are caught out of the water every year. If you take them all, you can easily cover the entire lake. The floating corpses are pale and their faces are distorted. The local public security bureau and the foreign river came here with divers, examined all 3 months and found nothing. The guide warns that you should not climb into this lake, but if the respected authorities insist on going, then everyone should be prepared for the fact that they will not return. The commander says that their squad has a matter of special importance, so they should inspect the waterfall just in case. Lao Lin points in the direction where you need to move to arrive directly at the waterfall and says that it takes 20 minutes to walk from here. Shen notices that didn't Lao Lin say that you can't approach the waterfall, then where is the road from? The guide explains that the last time people from the city came to examine another surfaced corpse, they trampled a big path here. Shen does not feel well. The closer he is to the waterfall, the more his head hurts, as if some force wants to break right out of the dungeon. The main character has a sharp trigger. He remembered, the sensations are exactly the same as in childhood when he met a drowned man. The Special Forces squad arrived at the waterfall, even in the dark, a very beautiful place, and you can't say that it can have such a name as the abyss that eats people. Shen La reports that he saw something in the water, but as soon as Lao Lin heard what the main character said, the guide, for some inexplicable reason, immediately rushed into the water. Strange, because he himself said that it was better not to go near this amazing lake. The commander ordered everyone to prepare. The main character is suffering from a headache more and more, and the commander notices that something is floating in the water. Lao Lin emerges from the water, turns to his respected superiors, and asks them not to worry, because this is not a corpse that has surfaced, but just some kind of tablet. The commander orders Lazi to inspect it. He takes the tablet from the guide, who says that this object should have sunk long ago. Lao Lin asks Shen La to read what is written on the tablet. It turned out to be a wooden sign. The red paint on it had long since peeled off, but the sign itself had not yet swollen from the water, so it must have got there recently. Suddenly, the main character remembers something. Shen La reads the inscriptions on the mysterious board and mutters to himself, "Kill, kill, kill." The commander asks what's the matter. What did the main character read there? Shen La cried out that it was the poem Seven Murders by the author Zhang Xianjun. Shen La doesn't understand how such a thing could be here. The commander of the squad says that this is not particularly important, so let the main character give it to Lao Lin, and he will take the mysterious board with him. It's time for the special forces to make a detour and get acquainted with the terrain. Otred goes further down the dark road. On the radio, colleagues tell the special forces squad that the target has already crossed a border and is moving towards the Saker squad. The commander asks Lazi to climb higher and find a good sniper point. Lazi listens implicitly. At the same time, both the fat man in the photo and the skinny criminal with a scar on his face are going on their way. A fat man with a cigar goes and grumbles at his ward, allegedly that skinny old man deliberately brought his boss to this damn place with a whole bunch of mosquitoes, and all because he's fat. Criminals are pretty tired of walking through the night forest. A scoundrel with a scar on his face apologizes to his boss because this is just a place where there are a lot of mosquitoes. Shen La is already aiming his rifle at the main dealer to hit him right on target. The boss warns the seller that if he does not like the product, then he will not receive a broken penny. But in fact, we know that that fat man is actually not a buyer of prohibited products, but an undercover special forces agent who needs to be protected in case of danger. Therefore, Shen La does not relax. As soon as he arrives at the place where the prohibited substances are stored, the special forces will intercept everyone at once. The commander orders to continue monitoring and not to lose vigilance because the culmination of this operation is about to begin. It turned out that there were only 10 criminals, and judging by their movements, they looked like professional military men. Shen La notices that the criminals have gone to the water. Is the magic Rorschach hidden there? Shen La directs his sight to the water. One of the Saudats says that he knows where the cache is. It is located in a cave on top of the waterfall. The soldier who found the cache of criminals' goods is called Song Chunlei. The main character feels bad next to the ominous water. The commander is interested in the well-being of our hero, but he says that he just has a little headache and there is nothing terrible about it. And so, the special forces are moving up along the waterfall. The special forces have already climbed into a spacious cave with bats. Shen La does not understand what is wrong with him, as if a certain air current hits him furiously right in the head. Shen La is very painful. He does not even guess why this is happening and what kind of terrible place it is that affects him so much. Suddenly, the pain of the protagonist subsided and he discovered a new ability in himself, namely, to see well in a dark cave without a night vision device. The main character looked around and froze in a stupor. He saw dead bodies on both sides of the cave, which he informed his group about. The commander says we need to keep going forward. The SWAT team went further along the dark walls of the cave, examining every corner along the way. But looking ahead, it turned out that there was a dead end ahead. Commander Wang is informed that something is wrong with this wall. Shen La took a closer look and was surprised to report that she was like a mirror. There was definitely something wrong with her. There is clearly something on the wall above. A human head is inserted into the wall. 7 Shlava. The special forces group found nothing on the wall, which made the main character doubt what he saw, and in fact, the main character concludes that only he can see the human skull on the wall. Lazi has a strange feeling ever since he stepped into this strange place. His heavenly vision, which the father of the main character tried to suppress in childhood, was rediscovered here. That is why now Shen La can see clearly without a night vision device and is also able to see all these mystical objects, like a head in a wall, from which a strange blue glow radiates. The main character notices that the glow comes from the chapters, they seem to stand out against a background of everything else. Shen concludes that in this case, it is the eyes of the mysterious Chia that are the secret door. As soon as the main character touches the glowing eyes, a large passage opens in an instant. The commander is amazed by the intuition of the main character because he was able to solve this riddle. Commander Wang praises Shen and asks the hero how he guessed that the key to the secret door was hidden here. But the hero is not going to reveal all the cards and only says that this is not so important now, it is only important that the special forces can move on to the goal. A large ancient Chinese building appears in front of the group, but it seems to be enchanted, a ghostly glow emanates from it, just like from that skull on the wall. No one would have thought that a secret door could lead a team to such a place. The special forces are moving on. The commander says that this is most likely an ancient burial site, but it is not so important for the IMH mission now, so the group will leave this object for archaeologists to study. Suddenly, one of the GRPPP points to the door and reports with panic that the entrance through which they entered is just closed, and this is a sign that someone is approaching the special forces grep. It turned out to be the fat man's son and the dealer in illegal substances Mott. The special forces surrounded the criminals and ordered them not to move. Dealer Mott got down on his knees and began to beg the main character to get them out of here. He was so scared that he had already resigned himself to the fact that he would be captured by the guardians of the law. The main character asks where the rest of the criminals are now, because according to estimates, there should be 10 of them. Mott, with a distraught look and a trembling voice, says that all the others were eaten by monsters in that cell, torn to pieces. But Mott, the fat man and 2 others from their criminal squad were lucky. After all, they have fast legs. Mott says that he will explain everything in detail later. Fatty Sun was very angry at the merchant, how could he even hide the forbidden powder in such a cursed place, which, as it turns out, is also inhabited by bloodthirsty monsters. Moth admits that he doesn't know where the monsters came from. The criminal says that a local Miao by the name of Lin showed him this place, and he also said that it is very secluded here. Everything fell into place. The special forces recognized the person Mott was talking about. It was Lao Lin, the guide of our group. He told the main character not to touch the heads of the people in the tower and the dead in the hall, otherwise it would attract evil. Mott is shocked. Did Lao Lin cooperate with criminals in Mompetsnes? The main character tells Commander Wang that Lao Lin had planned it all for sure, but the commander-in-chief does not understand why a guide from the nearest day would do all this. Shen intimidates Mott and asks him if there is another way out of here. The merchant obediently replies that he really is here, but is in that cell with the monster. The main character tells the fat man's son that the special forces cannot do without his fighting qualities, so the secret agent's son should go with them. The special forces squad went to the cell with the corpses of criminals and monsters, where 4 dead were found, but no traces of a struggle were found on the spot. Commander Wang orders the squad to be extremely careful, although there are no monsters in sight yet. But danger is waiting out of nowhere, monsters sitting right on top of Commander Van. Monsters are waiting for a good moment to attack the Saker squad. The special forces move on in combat formation, and not suspecting that the monsters are already watching. Now the moment has come, one of the insatiable monsters attacks the commander. The creature manages to wound Commander Wang in the face with its sharp fangs, but Wang is saved by the quick reaction of the main character. Shen opens fire on the monster, the creature is wounded and it falls to the ground. The blood of a monster got on the commander's face, which corroded half of his cheek, just like acid. But the main character does not lose his vigilance and takes command. He informs the squad that things are very bad, orders the soldiers to guard Commander Wang, and Shen with the rest of the soldiers will go to clear the way. The soldiers obey, take the wounded commander and follow the brave Shen. The squad discovered a sudden picture. The criminal Mott is dead, right in front of the special forces. The monster continues to eat Mott, from which nothing remains. There are 3 more monsters in the hall. They notice new victims and break through to our heroes. The main character orders everyone to break formation and open fire on the monsters. Soldats notice that monsters do not show signs of death, bullets are simply useless against them. The commander tells Lazzy to hit the monster in the head. The main character tells the others that they need to shoot right in the head. Lazzy aims at the monsters, but notices that one is missing. The 3rd monster attacks the main character from above. From such a surprise, Lazzy does not have time to aim at the monster's head, and it seems that the outcome will be sad. Lazzy closed his eyes in fear, he already realized his inevitable death. But suddenly the main character opens his eyes and sees the back of a tall, white-haired man in front of him. The main character does not believe his eyes what just happened. The white-haired hero takes the monster by the neck without any problems. Lassie remembers that long white hair. A mysterious man expresses his disgust for monsters even after so many years. The man, as in that time, terrifies the monsters. He squeezes the neck of the alien and it bursts, and the head flies off to other monsters. Lassie is surprised because the man had to touch the monster as he immediately finished off the creature. The white-haired hero stretches his fingers towards other monsters, hinting at their imminent demise. The man is straining his fingers up, a strong flame gushed out from under the ground. In a moment inhuman screams of pain were heard. It was the fire that struck one of the monsters. The main character remembers that he was told something similar. He was told about this mysterious man who destroys monsters in a minute. But for sure, the third uncle Lassie told him how he experienced something like this 20 years ago. The man notices Shen La's gaze on him and asks if the main character really recognized him. Shen La decides to lie and says that he does not know who this mysterious man is. It just seemed to him that he resembles the third uncle of Lassie. The white-haired hero decided that it would be better for him not to mess with Shen La. The man approaches the monster trembling with fear and says that he will give him a chance if the creature tells him where Samai is now. The thunderstorm of all monsters overturned a contemptuous look at the monster and told him that after death a person can be reborn again, and the monster is a living dead man, and, having died, the monster will simply turn into dust. The man was able to intimidate the monster and he obediently pointed to a large mountain of human bones. The white-haired man says that he did not think that there would be an eye in such a high tower of bones. He sarcastically thanks the monster and hits him with his feet. The main character wonders who this white-haired man is. Who gave a helping hand. The monster leaned right into a large tower of bones from a strong kick and brought it down with a big crash. The main character concluded that the mysterious man has terrible strength. Once with one kick, he was able to destroy the entire tower of bones. The white-haired man could easily find a golden skull with fangs among hundreds of ordinary scoops, as if he belonged to a vampire. The man bit his finger until it bled and began to draw a magic circle with a mystical symbol in the middle from his blood. The squad is stunned. All the actions of the man look too frightening. The group does not understand why he drew a magic spell and what he is up to in general, besides, apparently, something difficult. The man began the ceremony. He tossed the golden skull high, took out his silver blade, and moved the painted spell into the air with the movement of his fingers. A strange glow appeared from the blade, directed upwards. The golden skull hung in the air and opened its mouth, from which something like evil spirits leaked out, making sharp loud noises. Fatty Sun covered his ears. This sound really hurts the ear. What kind of noise is this? The main character says that it's not noise at all. In fact, all these are the cries of desperate homeless souls. The commander informs the male exorcist that their squad is from special forces and they are cooperating with the D and asks the bald-haired man what is going on here in the end. Magic smoke started coming out of the man's hand. He tells the heroes that it would be better if they didn't know what was going on here, otherwise they might regret it. The commander replies that he will regret it even more if the man does not explain everything. The white-haired hero begins the story. 2,000 years ago, the ancient kingdom of Dian was located here. Every time during the wars, all prisoners of war were kept in this place. When the time came for the annual sacrifice to heaven after the autumn harvest, this is the harvest festival in China in the middle of autumn, all prisoners were killed. First, all the blood from them was lowered into the pond, and then the head was cut off, and a tower of human heads was erected. This is all part of the sacrifice. It was here that sacrifices were made in the ancient kingdom of Dian. From time immemorial, people have longed for eternal life. In order to unravel this secret, the post of priest was created in the ancient kingdom of Dian. For the sake of gaining eternal life, they killed an infinite number of people and were ready for absolutely anything. Because of such actions, hell was inevitably waiting for the soul of the priest, so that the soul did not fall into hell and did not drink enough torment. They took on the magic of the ancient kingdom of Dian and turned themselves into the living dead. The white-haired man says that the monsters that the squad has just encountered are the very priests. The main character asks, in that case, aren't these monsters immortal? The man grinned and replied that this was nothing more than a trick contrary to the will of heaven. That's all. The existence of a living dead man has two serious flaws. The main character does not understand what else for two serious flaws. The man says that, first of all, they need to absorb the vital energy of living people, otherwise their body will turn to dust, so for many years they gave instructions to their descendants so that they would deceive people and they could suck out their life. Now everything has become clear, no wonder there are so many unpleasant souls here. Fatty Sun asks, but then what's the second thing? The man slowly approaches one of the dead monsters and says that secondly, if they die, they will never be able to reincarnate them. The white-haired man examines the golden skull, a faint sinister aura is already emanating from it, and the skull itself has lost its brilliant color, which means that all the absorbed souls have been released. The skull falls right into the man's hand, and he looked at the thing with a distraught look and said that all these 2,000 years of hatred had finally passed, and today it was time to end it all. Suddenly, the cave began to collapse, the man hid the skull in his long white cloak, a large stone falls on the fat Sun, but he manages to dodge. The whole cave will collapse soon. A man calmly walks past a group of special forces and says that if life is dear to them, it is better not to lag behind. The main character tries to stop the man, but he does not even pay attention, he strains to leave the cell. Shen remembers that at that time Ma told him that there was a way out in the cell with monsters. Shen orders the SWAT team to keep up and go after that man. The main character on the way to the exit examines the dead monsters and notices something strange. Grappa and the man go to the bright exit, the light blinds our heroes because they spent so much time in the dark. The heroes finally get out onto the street to some kind of sinister lake, there are bodies everywhere and large trees, there is a hole near the shore of the lake, and in the middle of the pond, there is a large tree with drooping branches. The group goes and crunches out from under their feet again and again, the remains are absolutely everywhere, no matter how they tried not to push, it still came out differently. The mysterious man says that having overcome this lake, a group of our heroes will be able to get out immediately. Fortunately, there is a boat right by the lake, the group is already glad that they will finally be able to get out of this cursed place. In the background is a slowly dying guy from Mott's criminal group, who was never noticed by our heroes. A group of special forces with that man went by boat on the lake. The main character notices that the man is clearly well acquainted with this place, and the monsters are afraid of him. Shen asks the man if he has been here before, but the man only remains silent in response. The heroes are still in great danger because monsters are everywhere, they are even in the water, just like fish, the threat comes even from the depths. Disgusting bloodthirsty monsters began to get out of the water, they intend to have dinner with our heroes. One of the monsters tried to jump into the boat to the heroes, the rest went after him. The soldiers opened fire on the monsters. Compared to this lake, it was much calmer in the cell because as it turns out all the monsters were hiding right here and waiting for their victims. The main character looked at the man, watching his further actions. The white-haired man raised his hand, it began to radiate like a charge of some kind of energy, it seems as if this hero can do any elements. The man called the monsters vile and with a slight movement of his hand, caused a large flow of water and scattered all the monsters, but the insatiable monsters are so hungry that this will not stop them, they continued to attack the Saker group, only now the monsters are even more furious. They attack with renewed vigor and are not going to stop, but it seems that the real goal of the monsters is a golden skull, which now belongs to a white-haired man. Monsters jump higher out of the water to grab the golden skull. Our mysterious hero does not intend to give the thing to monsters, apparently they are not afraid of death at all, since they dare to attack in order to steal something. Unexpectedly for the monsters and our group, a man just throws a golden skull into the monsters, a whole army of these creatures broke through to catch a golden skull. The white-haired hero finds it interesting and unusual. And again, the man makes some reckless knocks, he quickly jumped over the heads of monsters directly to the skull, which has not even managed to fall into the water yet. There is no limit to the speed of the mysterious hero, it seems he is capable of absolutely anything. One of the monsters dared to grab a white-haired man, which confused him very much. "How dare you?" he shouted to the monster. Suddenly, a huge monster comes out of the water, he is different from the others, his skin was sewn, like the rest of the monsters, he had no eyes, but he could talk. He completely wrapped his big arm around our white-haired hero and growled for him to return his precious relic. Fatty Sun had already managed to relax because finally they got rid of all these terrible monsters, for which thanks to the white-haired man. Shen is still on the alert, he warns the fat man not to be so secure because the water is still not calm, which means monsters live in it and our heroes are still in great danger. Suddenly it started snowing, which shocked the Special Forces squad. It's really very strange. In addition to all these events, the weather is also raging now, which is even more strange. The boat crashed sharply on the ice. Literally in a second the water froze. The situation is escalating as much as possible. Something is definitely wrong. Can all this be real? Now someone is approaching our heroes through the fog. An elderly man comes out of the fog. He is dressed in an ancient purple robe. Something like a scarf hat is on his head. A golden staff with a golden scoop is in his hand, just like the relic with which the white-haired hero performed the ceremony. Only the relic of this old man was different from the one that our heroes had seen earlier. Horns like a demon were present on his golden skull. A visible evil aura emanates from the elderly man. He tells the heroes that he warned them not to come here, but they did not listen. Well, okay, because now they will all die here. The old priest is surrounded by his monsters, waiting for orders from the chief. They are already preparing to attack the Saker squad. The main character recognizes in the old man Lin Ho, the very guide who accompanied the Special Forces squad on the way to the cave. The priest looked at our group of suicide bombers with a distraught look because he finally found new people for the sacrifice. Shen La points his weapon directly at the priest and orders him to raise his hands and not move. The priest has nothing to do with these toys. He tells the hero, does he really think that this nonsense can stop him? It will not affect him in any way. In an instant, sharp blocks of ice sprouted right in front of the main character's face. They completely envelop our hero, placing him in an icy vacuum. Lazi was frozen, which means that the rest of the squad is unlikely to survive without such a good fighter as the main character. The squad found themselves face to face with death in the middle of a frozen lake, along with a large army of monsters and a ruthless priest. Lin Ho calls our squad pathetic non-entities. He says that after all they will become just food for monsters, and the squad can consider it a mercy of fate. Enraged and hungry monsters headed for our heroes, and it would seem that our heroes will not survive. The priest orders the monsters to finish off the Saker squad and goes home. At this time, helicopter gunships are flying somewhere in the mountains. The location moves to the head of the Folklore Study Bureau, Gao Yang. His secretary approaches him and informs the head of the Gao that their people will soon arrive at the abyss that eats people. The secretary informs that according to their available information, the target of this operation is the Reaper Lin Ho, and it seems that it will be quite difficult to cope with him. The boss says that there is no need to worry about it because he has already gone there. The priest left our heroes, leave them alone with the monsters, but suddenly something like the head of a monster falls from above directly to Lin Ho. The priest was not prepared for such a turn of fate. The monster's head falls right at the feet of the priest, which attracts his attention, but then a familiar white-haired hero, whose name is Wu Mian, approaches Lin Ho. He is the head of the 6th department of the Folklore Study Bureau. The priest recognizes our hero and is clearly not happy to see him. A real fear and irritation appears on his face. But Wu Mian immediately shows all his disgust for the priest, giving him a cold look and telling him that even over the past 2,000 years, the priest is still disgusting. The whole operation to rescue the special forces was organized by the chief Gao Yan, who did everything possible to save his comrades from the group of the department for combating prohibited substances. After all, now the Saker troop will be saved, and for Wu Mian, the priest Lin Ho will definitely not be any problem. And Shen La can only observe everything while he is imprisoned in the people.